Good day and thank you for joining us. Today, the Ghana Statistical Service presents the Consumer Price Index and inflation figures for April 2026. Before we look at the numbers, let me explain what inflation is and what it is not. Inflation simply means a general increase in the prices of goods and services over time. In simple terms, it tells us how much more money you need today to buy the same things you bought before. However, inflation does not mean that all prices are rising, and it does not mean that every household is affected in the same way. Some prices may go up, others may stay the same, and some may even fall. Now, two simple measures help us understand inflation. Year-on-year inflation compares prices today to prices at the same time last year. Month-on-month inflation compares prices today to prices in the previous month. Now the headline numbers. In April 2026, year-on-year inflation was 3.4%. This means that, on average, prices are 3.4% higher than they were in April 2025. Month-on-month, inflation was 1%, meaning prices increased by 1% between March and April 2026. Compared to March 2026, inflation has gone up by 0.2 percentage points. But compared to April 2025, inflation has dropped sharply by 17.8 percentage points. What this really means is that price pressures remain low overall, even though we are seeing a small increase. Let's break it down. Food inflation slowed to 2.2% from 2.3% in March 2026, while non-food inflation rose to 4.2% from 3.9% in March 2026. On a monthly basis, food prices increased by 0.8% and non-food by 1.1%. For goods and services, goods inflation slowed from 1.7% in March 2026 to 1.1% in April 2026, which is important because goods make up most households' spending. However, services inflation increased to 9.6% from 7.2% in March 2026, showing rising costs in areas like transport and restaurant and accommodation services. For locally produced items, inflation declined to 4.7% from 4.9% in March 2026, while imported inflation rose to 0.5% from negative 0.6% in March 2026. This suggests improving local supply conditions, but some pressures from imports. Across regions, inflation remains uneven. The Northeast region recorded the highest inflation at 9.5%, while the Savannah region recorded the lowest inflation at negative 3.5%. Differences in transport costs, market access, and local supply continue to drive these gaps. 7 regions saw price declines in April 2026. Looking at price drivers, the key point is that inflation is being driven by just a handful of items. In April 2026, 7 items, namely charcoal, rent, river fish, smoked herrings, senior secondary school fees, green plantain, and ginger, accounted for 77.5% of the total inflation rate of 3.4%. What this means is simple. Most of the pressure on prices is coming from a very small part of the basket. Now, where are prices rising the fastest? A few key items stand out sharply. Ginger prices surged by 68.4%, charcoal by 52.4%, shrimps by 45.9%, mango by 44.5%, and cashew by 39.2%. These 5 items alone contributed 23.5% of total inflation. In other words, the spike in inflation is not broad-based, it is concentrated. But there's another side of the story. Some prices are falling fast, helping to ease overall inflation. The price of fried fish dropped by 51.2%. pawpaw by 49.4%, garden eggs by 45.3%, cocoyam leaves by 43.6%, and fresh okra by 36%. Together, these declines reduce overall inflation by 14.9%. So while some prices are rising sharply, others are pulling inflation down. The bottom line is clear. Inflation is not widespread. It is concentrated in a small group of high-impact items that people rely on daily. Now, what should we do? For government, stay focused on fiscal discipline and invest in storage, irrigation, and transport to reduce regional disparities. For businesses, improve efficiency, strengthen local supply chains, and pass cost savings to customers. For households, track spending, prioritize essentials, and build small savings where possible. We want to express our sincere appreciation to market participants, data providers, the media, and our dedicated staff at the Ghana Statistical Service for making this release possible. We reaffirm our commitment to providing timely, accurate, and credible data to support decision-making and national development. Thank you very much.